like about 12 times a day, for being too ambitious. Bernie, these are great ideas, but in America, we just can't afford it. We can't do what Germany does, and Scandinavia does. We just can't allow our young people to go to public colleges and universities tuition free. We can't lower student debt. It is just impossible. It is too expensive. And then people say, well, Bernie, how are you going to pay for it? And I will tell you how we pay for it. We pay for it through a tax on Wall Street speculation. Remember this, that when Wall Street's greed and illegal behavior nearly destroyed our economy, they went to Congress for a bailout, which they got. Now it is Wall Street's turn to help the middle class of this country. Now I know that here in South Carolina, you have a state run by pretty conservative people. And I know that many conservatives refuse to accept science with regard to climate change. I am a member of the Senate Committee on the Environment and the Senate Committee on Energy, and I've talked to scientists all over this country and all over the world. So let me tell you in South Carolina, regardless of what your leaders may tell you, climate change is real. Climate change is caused by human activity. And climate change is already doing devastating harm in this country and around the world. That is the fact. Let me tell you something else. In terms of what scientists tell us, they say, if we do not get our act together in a very short window of opportunity, this planet, by the end of this century, is going to be 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit warmer, more drought, more floods, more extreme weather disturbances, more acidification of the ocean, more rising sea levels, more international conflict as people fight over limited natural resources. And let me tell you this as well. The reason that Republicans refuse to recognize the scientists is not because they're dumb, not because they can't read science. The reason has everything to do with a corrupt campaign finance system. If a Republican candidate for president came up here and told you what I just told you, that climate change is real, caused by human activity, on that day, that candidate would lose his funding from the fossil fuel industry, the Koch brothers, the coal companies, and all of that. And I say to my Republican colleagues, worry less about your campaign funds, worry more about your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. In America, we have, as you all know, passed the Affordable Care Act, which has done a lot of good things for our people and the community that Affordable Care Act has eliminated this private insurance company obscenity of pre-existing conditions. We have done away with discrimination against women who are forced to pay higher premiums than men. We have added some 17+ million that when we passed in Congress the Affordable Care Act to expand Medicaid in every state in this country, that the governor of South Carolina rejected that proposal. We do not know, nobody will ever know, how many people will die or get much sicker than they should have because they did not have Medicaid that the Congress provided for them. And I would hope that the Republican leadership here would get beyond right-wing political ideology and serve the needs of the people of the state. We have got to do better. So let me stand before you and tell you what I believe. And that is that I believe that health care is a right of all people. I believe that it is wrong that we pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, that 29 million Americans have no health insurance, and many of you are underinsured with high deductibles and co-payments. And that is why I believe in a Medicare for all single-payer model. This country and what the issues are that we have got to address, let us be clear. And that is that no American, black, Latino, or white should be fearful of walking down the street and getting shot by a police officer. I believe the vast majority of police officers are honest and hardworking and have to do a very good job. But when a police officer breaks the law, like any other public official, that officer must be held accountable. Local police departments so they don't look like I believe we need to make police departments look like the communities they serve. In my state of Vermont, and in many parts of this country, we have a very, dare I say, huge problem with substance abuse and overdoses regarding heroin. This is a very serious issue. In my view, we have got to look at substance abuse and addiction as a health issue, not a criminal. In the last 30 years in this country, millions of Americans have received criminal records as a result of possession of marijuana. And what that means is if you have a criminal record and you're going and applying for a job, you know what? You may not get that job. So what I believe is that when we have a federal controlled substance act which lists marijuana in a Schedule I level right alongside of heroin, that is done. smoke marijuana at about the same rates, but blacks are 4 times more likely to be arrested than whites. My friends, what this campaign is about is asking all of you to imagine what this country can be. In my view, we do not need to be a country which has the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country at the same time as we are seeing a proliferation of millionaires and billionaires. We do not have to be a country where young people cannot afford to get a higher education while millions of others are being crushed by outrageous student debt. We do not have to be the only major country on earth that does not guarantee paid family and medical leave or provide health care to all people as a right. We do not have to be a country in which millions of our brothers and sisters work for 9, 10, 11 bucks an hour and are going nowhere in a hurry. But the only way we change America, it's not just electing a president. Obviously, I'm here to ask for your support. It is much more than that. It is to create a political revolution. Is that you understand that you and you and you have the power to determine the future of America. That's what people fought and died for, and that's where we are today. And if millions of Americans stand up and say, you know what, in this great country we can be so much more. We don't have to have a political system owned by billionaires. We don't have to have a big economy. We don't have to